Today I want to talk you through a really great assessment and a few stretches that you can use to help you with your shoulder mobility. So first of all, I just want to touch on why shoulder mobility is so important. It's needed for exercises like presses, pull-ups, the ability to hang from the bar, and even to things like daily tasks, anything to do with reaching overhead. If you have limited shoulder mobility or any issues, that can also lead to poor posture, impingement, increased risk of injuries, and not just during training, but perhaps doing those daily tasks as well, and not just to your shoulders. So if we look at the impact that shoulder mobility can have, if I don't have that range of motion in my shoulders in order to reach overhead or stretch overhead, then this can cause a really big arch in your lower back because you're trying to compensate your overhead position with other joints and parts of your body. And when it comes to shoulders, often we do this using our back. So that's why it's so important to work on your shoulder range of motion and your mobility, remembering that mobility is the flexibility but also strength as well. So I'm going to go through this self-assessment here, which is a great starting place, especially at the beginning of a session if you're not sure how you're feeling today or where you might be tight. So this is not to diagnose any problems, but just to give you an idea of where you're at and what stretches you could work on throughout a session, because I'm all about efficiency, and if I can stretch during my rest times on a session so that saves me time later, then I'm all for it. So I'm going to go through this now, which is wall angels. So you would want to sit right up against the wall. Don't leave any space between you and the wall. Your bum and your back sit up as straight as you can, with also your head touching the wall. You're going to start with your hands at the bottom, also touching the wall, with your arms all the way down to the backs of your hands touching the wall, and keep your arms straight. You're then going to move through this movement here, going all the way up and overhead. You're aiming to keep your arms straight and touching the wall. However, this is the type of exercise that is much more difficult than it looks. So if your arms start to come away from the wall, you feel like you can't move any further when you get to a certain point, or perhaps your arms start to bend, then don't worry, this can be worked on. And this is also just a reminder that this is not a quick fix. This isn't going to fix you in one session, but you need to keep coming back to this over a long period of time in order to see progress. So during your wall angels, if your arms start to come away from the wall, generally we find that that means that you've got a tight chest. So I'll go through some stretches that can be really helpful for that in a moment. If your arms start to bend on the way up, then you've probably got tight lats, because rather than being able to stretch out fully overhead, your arms are bending in order to compensate for the fact that your lats aren't able to extend, your shoulders aren't able to extend fully due to your tight lats. So here are a couple of stretches to help. This is not an extensive list, but I don't like to overwhelm you with too many stretches, because again we get then caught in that trap of what is the best stretch. So here are a couple to start off with and see how and if they help you. There's a lying chest stretch where you lie on your front. Think about that cactus arm with your arm out to the side, bent at a 90-degree angle. The most important thing with this is to have your thumb pointing up. These stretches can also be found on my channel if you want to see a video of them. Thumb up means your armpit is facing forwards, which is the kind of rotation that we want in order to achieve that nice wall angel position without having tightness in the chest. You can equally do this from standing. Find a wall to place your forearm up against. Again, think armpit facing forwards so that your shoulder's not caving in. You're not going to get the full benefits of the stretch there. If your arms bend on the wall and you've got tight lats, then a kneeling lat stretch. So you're going to go onto your hands and knees, reach forwards with straight arms, and again thumbs facing up to feel a big stretch all the way, probably down your triceps as well and into your lats. And then last of all, a standing lat stretch. So if you've got a doorway or a rig or something you can hold on to, you're going to hold on to it with your thumb facing down, and then bend over and lean into that stretch. Again, all feeling that stretch all the way down the side of your triceps, possibly your triceps, your lats, and even into the side of your body as well. So I would suggest only working on one thing at a time. So perhaps work on the chest stretches, and then the main point I want to make here is make sure you revisit this, not only during a session, but over time, over a period of weeks, if this is one of your goals, in order to help you out with your shoulder range of motion, but perhaps also you've been suffering back problems or whatever because of it. You want to keep coming back to the same assessment that you use to make sure that you're tracking your progress and it's feeling better. So perhaps stretch your chest, then come back to this, go through your wall angels, see if it makes any difference at all. Sometimes it can be useful to video yourself because it may not feel any better, but it might actually look better as you start to move through the movement, or get somebody, a training partner, or you can send a video across to me to see how it feels, see how it looks, rather than just gauging it on how it feels. If that doesn't help, then you may want to try one of the other stretches and then revisit. So I hope that's helpful. These stretches are on my channel as well, but if you want these put into your programming, if you're a client with me, please just ask and I will make sure those are added to your programming. I will speak to you